So true meditation is a sinking of the attention, a relaxing of attention, not a focusing of attention. And that is why it is frustrating for the mind, because the mind is always paying attention to something. The mind wants something to do, something to focus on, something it can repeat. Take the analogy of the sun. If the sun wants to illuminate the moon, it has to direct the rays of its light from itself towards the moon. Now, what does the sun have to do if it wants to illuminate itself? The sun illuminates itself by nature. It doesn't have to do something special to illuminate itself. It's by nature it illuminates itself. Consciousness is exactly the same. In order to illuminate something other than itself, such as a thought or a feeling or a perception, consciousness has to do something. It has to direct its attention. But in order to know itself, or in order to illuminate itself, it doesn't have to do something special. Its nature is to know itself. It knows itself simply by being itself. That is why in this approach, meditation is not something we do. It is what we are. Meditation is not an activity of the mind in this approach. It is the nature of the mind. It is necessary to withdraw our attention from objects and allow our attention to gradually, in most cases, occasionally, suddenly sink back towards its source. And for one whose attention is accustomed to being fixed exclusively on objects, this withdrawing of the attention from objects will seem to be something we do. It will seem to be an activity that we are doing. In fact, later we realize that it is the cessation of an activity which we were previously doing, but we didn't realize we were doing it because we were so habituated to it. And as a result, this tasting or knowing of ourselves as we are. But in time, as we go back with our attention to the objects of experience, the objects of experience cease to have the power to veil our knowledge of ourself from ourself. So to begin with, there is this knowing of ourself in the absence of objects. And in time, this knowing of ourself remains during the presence of objects or during the presence of experience. In other words, there is no longer this back and forth. It's not either objects or myself, either experience or meditation. It may be, to begin with, simply to counteract the habit of paying attention exclusively to objects. So in the beginning, there may be this back and forth, this either or. But in time, experience begins to lose its capacity to veil consciousness. And then there is less and less distinction between meditation and experience. And in fact, the distinction between life and meditation gradually dissolves until we can no longer consider meditation a particular activity that we do amongst numerous other activities. Meditation is the nature of our lives. We cannot, and then we may still choose to sit on our sofa and close our eyes and rest in our being. But when we're bicycling down the streets of Amsterdam, negotiating the trams and the cars coming from all sorts of strange directions, that no longer prevents us from being in meditation.